He said, how much do you drink? I said, I don't know, 30, maybe 40 beers and a few scotches. He said, what, a week? I said, no, what, a day? And he just shook his head. I've just had a shower, remember, the towels come off me. I'm running around the middle of winter, Adelaide winter, out in the backyard, burying bedding slips and cocaine. And worried that the police are going to, walk in the door at any moment.
And arrest you for indecent exposure. I'm Andrew Rule. This is Life and Crimes yet again. And yet again, we're going to talk with Rod Halsted. Last week, we heard about his adventures in Sydney, from Albury to Sydney. This week, we're going to hear what happened after he hid out in Adelaide after getting, not even a tip-off, getting a hint that life could be a little bit dangerous if he stayed around Sydney. Now, how long did that last, that middleman running stuff up and down the highway?
It's funny, when I started writing this book, it corrected my memories.
Yes.
In that stuff that I thought, I've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
Actually turned out I've been doing it for maybe 4 months.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing runs into another and what have you. I started in...
How did you correct yourself? Did you find diaries or newspaper entries?
No, it's all my memory.
Oh, okay.
Everything.
Yeah.
No, I didn't keep any bloody
No,
diaries.
I was just wondering how you were able to correct yourself from 4 years to 4 months.
Only because of timelines. When I started writing it, I'm going, well, I knew I'd spent 6 months in Western Australia.
Right.
But then I started thinking, well, how long did I live in Hawthorne?
Yeah.
I must have been there for bloody 3 years.
And
but in fact, it wasn't. It was probably not even a year.
Just explain where that is. It's a big old house.
Hawthorne is a large property on, I think it was about 2.5 acres. The front of the property's got a big iron gate. It's in Roslindale Avenue in Wallara. And when you drive in the gate and down to the house, you drive past a house on your left, and that's the gatehouse, and that's got 5 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms.
Good look.
And then you go down to the big house, and it's got, I think it had something like 12 bedrooms and, and a ballroom. And
who owned that?
That originally was owned by, well, don't know about originally, but it was owned for a long time by the shipping line that used to, P&O Lines.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and that's the house that the captain and the directors of the company and their friends would stay in when they were in port.
Really?
Yes, and how my friends ended up taking the lease on the house, I have no idea.
And what sort of friends were they?
They were a mixed group. One was a boat builder. They were straight. They weren't in the game.
No.
One was a boat builder. One was an attorney. One was a journalist.
Yeah. Who was that?
I can't remember his name, but he wrote in about the trucking industry or something.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Didn't work for one of the main. And there were all sorts of weird people. There was a tennis court there. The front.
So you had a room or a suite?
I lived in a room for a while, and I thought I'd lived there for months, but it turned out I was probably there for 2 months or something. Yeah. But that house was really interesting. We used to hold parties there.
Yeah,
and
in the ballroom.
Well, in the house and the ballroom, I mean, Cher has been to a party at that house.
Had she?
Yeah.
I've run into people that have been very friendly with Cher.
Yeah, there you go. I wasn't.
You weren't friendly with her?
No, I didn't see her. She wasn't there when I was there. Huh? The Average White Band. We turned the ballroom into a ping pong room. Yeah. So we've got a table set up and we're playing ping pong back and forth. And I'm playing ping pong against Alan, I think, and John's sitting on one of the bean bags rolling a joint or some such, and there are a couple of other people in there. And one of the girls burst into the room with this guy, 2 guys, and she said, boys, I've got the manager of the Average White Band here. I'm going to take him upstairs and we're going to have some fun. This is the lead singer. Can you look after him? Yeah. And the lead singer of a major band, he's there, and he's well and truly cut as well, I must say, on the booze. And
WB, known by their acronym.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, we said, yeah, it'll be all right. Get out of the way. And he's sort of there, and he said, look, mate, just sit over in the corner there. John, roll him a joint, will you? Just sit over in the corner there. Don't get in the way. We're playing a serious game. He wasn't used to being spoken to this way. So he stuck around long enough to grab the joint, and then he disappeared. And when we finished our game of ping pong, or whatever you call it, mate, and gone into my room, and there he is, collapsed on my bed, flaked out. Yeah. So we decided we'd tart him up a bit. So we put a tennis racket in one hand, a long-handled feather duster in the other hand.
Yeah.
We squirted some, toothpaste on his thing. We got some sugar and sprinkled it down and opened his fly and dropped it down, some down there. And we got whipped cream and put that in various places and what have you.
Yeah.
And put a motorcycle helmet on his head. And then we retired to various places to get a bit of kip.
Yeah.
I went upstairs to, I don't know whose room it was, but I found a nook and I lay down and had a sleep. And the next morning, apparently I didn't hear this, but he woke up and in a rage, all this sugar and stuff made him itch like crazy. He's bellowed and roared and he's come out of the bedroom, knocked the door off its hinges. And unfortunately, a bloke called Michael from the bushes, he lived in a cardboard box up in the garden area.
Did he?
Yeah, Michael was harmless, totally harmless. Anyway, he knocked Michael out. And Shirley, the house mother, called us all down. He just took off. We don't know where the lead singer of the Average White Band went, but it wasn't with us. And Shirley called us down and she said, I wrote a note and put it on his chest. And the note said, "You are now known as the Tasty Morsel." And Shirley said, "Well, I want you all to write on a note, you are now known as the Tasty Morsel," so I can determine who did.
Who wrote it?
Yeah, and I've got my left hand, and I'm right-handed. I've got my left hand. I'm trying. We're all doing the same thing, and laughing about it all. Yeah, it was quite funny.
I'm trying to think who he was called. We're a very famous band.
I knew his name for a long time. Alan, somebody maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
They were so famous that there were send-ups of the name. I had a friend who was a very funny Greek guy who played a bouzouki in a traditional Greek band at weddings because it was good money. Yeah. And he called his band, his bouzouki band, the AWB, Average Wog Band. Was what that was the Greek guy's own joke.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
Funny guys.
Yeah. So anyway, I was living there
at
one
Hawthorne.
day. Yeah, at Hawthorne, and something had gone wrong with a shipment that arrived, and I got a call from Gator. We had a red phone in the house. Yeah. And I go, "Rod, there's a call for you." And I went over, and he said, "Listen, can you meet me at that place where we exchange those squash bags?" And I immediately heard something in his voice, and I thought, I'm no longer for this planet if I meet him. And I said, "No, I can't, mate." I said, "I'm sorry, I'm getting on a plane going to Tasmania very shortly."
Yeah.
And I got out of there and I got a plane back to South Australia. And I stayed there for a year and a half. It all cleared up.
What was that about?
It was about a shipment of tie sticks that I'd picked up at the airport that I was paid for in kind.
Yeah.
It was with $30,000 worth of goodies.
Yeah.
And I then just delivered it to my mate, and I didn't know what happened to it from there, but he then took it up to the Central Coast and stored it in a house that was for rent.
Oh.
And stupidly didn't check. He must have got word from one agent, you can do that, and didn't talk to another agent who showed a couple through the house to rent. And what's this big box? And, of course, they called the police, and the box is gone. And the box is worth millions in today's terms. Millions.
That's not good.
So he's trying to work out how that could have gone off, and he just wasn't thinking straight, and I was first man in his sight or something, who knows, and he rang me.
Nothing to do with you?
No, I didn't know where it went.
So this is Gator rings you?
Yes.
And you just went straight to the airport?
I thought I'm off.
You straight to the airport, and you told him you're going to Tassie, but you flew to Adelaide?
Yeah.
And you stayed in Adelaide. What did you do there? So you sort of had a target on your back.
Oh, yeah.
Or possibly on your forehead.
Yeah. And not the last one either. My sister was working in a pub there, the Broadway Hotel, and I'd been there a couple of weeks before just to say good day to her. I had time on my hands, so I flew over there. And she introduced me to a bloke called the Gouger. It was interesting. I did a lot of drinking with the Gouger. That's what I did every day. Every day I just drank. I didn't do any business.
What did you use for money?
I had a lot.
Yeah?
I had a lot of money.
What sort of money had you made in that time in Sydney? How long were you in Sydney and working with the drugs?
Tens of thousands.
And so in this era, I was a kid and I made $3,000 in a year. You made... made 50 or...
On one weekend I made 30,000, which was more than the chairman of BHP.
You made...
A year's salary for the chairman of BHP, yeah.
You got 30,000?
Yeah, for 2 days' work.
Is that right?
Mm.
So you were obviously taking big risks.
Yeah.
You would have done 20 years in whatever, 15 years.
10, 15,
lots of
5.
Yeah, serious jail time.
Mm.
That's the risk you were taking.
Yep.
And they paid you well.
Yep.
And there was no problem until there's a consignment goes missing, which has nothing to do with you.
No.
Do you think the other bloke that put it in the rented house was just a dill, or would he set it up?
Who knows?
What do you think?
I don't know. I've never even thought about it. It'd be pure speculation. I don't know who put it in the house.
Oh, so it's not nobody you knew?
No, there's your box. It's in his garage. He gives me my pay.
Right.
I'm off.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And he, whatever he did, he did.
Right, paid cash for you.
No, I didn't get paid cash. I got paid sticks.
Oh, okay.
I got paid sticks, which I sold and made 30 grand.
So 18 months in basically one pub, you get very sick of that pub in Adelaide.
Oh, no, not at all.
No, not at all.
Don't you like a drink?
Oh, not as much as you did. I wasn't not as thirsty as you. So
I used to sit at the bar with the gouger from about 10 in the morning till...
What was he using for money? Your money?
Yeah, I helped him out a bit, and he was punting, and then we started an SP book. We started the book, and the gouger would sit in the pub and take the bets, and he'd ring them straight through to me on the payphone.
Right.
I was up in my house that I'd rented up in Aldgate, up in the hills, and I'd write the bets down.
Right.
So I'm there one Saturday, and I'm writing the bets down. I've just had a shower. I've got a towel wrapped round me. Yeah. I'm a big bugger. I was bigger than I am now, and I'm 95 kilos now. And the gouger rings me, and he says, I've got some bets. I said, hang on a minute, there's someone at the door. The bloke was at the door. I'd broken my own rule. I had some cocaine I was selling for a friend, the only time I sold powder, and there's the result of it. Yeah. And I let this bloke in. He shot up the cocaine and fell on his back and swallowed his tongue in my kitchen.
Yeah.
And I
As you tell us this, you are holding up to the microphone a hand that's only got 4 fingers. Because one's
3 middies and a 7.
3 middies and a 7. One's knocked off at the first joint, which is why you're telling this story. So you poked your finger down his neck.
Down his throat. Well, he's choking. See, I don't want him to die. I stuck my finger. He chewed down on the finger. Yeah. I thought, geez, I prized his mouth open. I got the finger out. Yeah. And I thought I'll knock him out. Yeah. And when I got the finger out, he chewed it right down to the bone. Didn't chew the finger off, just chewed it down to the bone, and chewed the tendon off.
Oh, that's not good. Did it hurt at all?
No, you don't think about stuff like that while it's happening. No, nothing hurts while it's happening. Fear doesn't come into it while it's happening. It all comes, the pain and the fear come afterwards.
Right.
Hi, it's Gary Jubilant here. Do you want a real and raw look inside the world of crime? Well then check out my podcast, I Catch Killers, where I interview people from all sides of the law.
I draw my firearm and I went into fight mode. I wanted to find and confront this gunman.
I'm not getting verbal, am I?
I shouldn't have trusted you. See, I'm trying to open my mind up to defence powers.
I know, it's just begging to be said.
Yeah, fair call. We have amazing guests every week. Search for I Catch Killers wherever you get your podcasts.
And then you had to go to hospital.
And then I rang the gouger while this bloke's vibrating across the floor, chewing my finger and punching me in the head. Yeah. I've got the phone stuck under my ear, and I said, gouger, get an ambulance up here. I've got a bloke who's overdosing on cocaine. And then I prized his jaw open, which is, you've got to be bloody strong and desperate to do that. And the minute I got my finger out, he relaxed. Oh. And he's leant up against the wall, and he's wiped his face, and there's blood all over. Yeah,
your blood.
Yeah, my blood. I said, not your blood, mine. I said, listen, get out. The ambulance is on its way. The coppers won't be far behind it. So then I'm running round. I've just had a shower, remember. The towels come off me. I'm running around the middle of winter, Adelaide winter, out in the backyard, burying bedding slips and cocaine. Oh, and good. Worried that the police are going to, walk in the door at any moment.
And arrest you for indecent exposure.
Exactly right.
I see. Very funny. Yeah. And who turned up? The ambulance?
No one. I just got everything buried, and then I threw some duds on, and I raced down. I went to the Aldgate Hospital. Yeah. They dressed it, and then I got in the car and I drove down to the Broadway. And I said to the gouger, he said, everything all right? And I said, well, no, not really. Yeah. And then I showed him the finger, which is all bandaged up. And he said, I can't believe the police didn't arrive and the ambulance didn't arrive. I said, I didn't call them. Mm. I said, you didn't call them? I said, I told you the bloke was bloody, possibly going to die. Yeah. He said, we'd have buried the body.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
This is the gouger?
The gouger.
He's a pretty hard case for a shearer.
He was a very hard case. Yeah. He was a good bloke, but he killed 2 men in his time.
Had he? Yeah.
One punch deaths, where he punched somebody and they'd just fallen the wrong way. And I think he carried the weight of that. I remember him saying to me when we were at Cups one night, don't ever kill anybody. He said, just stays with you for life. You don't ever shake it.
Yeah. Is he dead?
Yeah. I haven't killed anybody, and I don't want to kill anybody, and I don't want to have to dispose of a body. I think it's just... It goes against the way I was raised.
No, not
so
good.
I'd have to drop myself in it, come up with some story, but drop myself in it. And anyway, I'm glad it didn't work out that way. But then I ended up in Flinders Medical Centre because I woke up the next morning. They said change the dressing every 2 hours or something, put this powder on it. And, of course, I got drunk and went home and just woke up 10 hours later with my hand under my nose and stinking.
Oh.
And I immediately went down to Flinders Medical Centre and I had septicemia.
Oh, not good.
So they put me under and scraped the skin and flesh away and down to the bone. The surgeon came to see me afterwards and he said, how much do you drink? He said, you're aware that you came out of the anaesthetic twice? And I said, yeah, I know that. I said, you're telling the nurses you're impressing them about the new Mercedes you just bought. Yeah. He just looked at me stunned. And he said, how much do you drink? I said, I don't know, 30, maybe 40 beers and a few scotches. He said, what, a week? I said, no, what, a day? Yeah. And he just shook his head. He was...
And you'd come out of the anaesthetic because your body...
Yeah. He said, we put more, I can't remember the drug, but we put more of that into you than we've ever used on any patient in this medical centre.
Is that right?
Yep. There were two moments in time where, sort of jumping forward a bit, but where I broke on the record, and that was one, and the other was when they pinched me in Wagga, eventually pinched me in Wagga, and I ended up in jail. And when in my court case, they said that the New South Wales Drug Laboratory has analysed this marijuana that Mr Halsted was caught with, and it has got the highest level of THC content of any drugs ever analysed in this laboratory.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I only ever sold good dope.
Yeah.
I shouldn't make fun of it. I'm actually, if anybody is the ideal candidate as a campaigner against drugs, it's me. Yeah. I hate the bloody things. Yeah. I don't dislike field-grown marijuana. It's got its medicinal services and properties, and I don't know that I've never known anybody to go off their trolley smoking dope. More people on booze, as you well know. But as to powder, acid, the marijuana they grow these days using chemicals to... I hate it, I despise it, and I despise what it does to
psychosis.
Yep. And it wrecks families, not just the individual, it wrecks families. So I'm a big anti-drug campaigner.
Yeah. And you know it from the inside out.
Yeah.
So that's Adelaide. You've lost a finger. You've gained a friend who's maybe, I don't know if he's an asset to you or not, the Gouger.
The Gouger introduced me to Bob Hawke. We got on.
Did he?
Yeah.
And
Bob
how was
Hawke,
that?
well, the Gouger was a shearer and a Labor Party man.
Oh, and he's a Mick
Young.
Mick Young.
Mick Young.
Knew him.
He introduced me to Mick Young, took me to Mick Young's house for a Labor thingo one night.
Did he?
Yep. And when he was head of the trade union, he burst into the door of the Broadway Hotel one afternoon,
Loved to drink.
lunchtime. Gouger, how you going there? We're going down the port for a drink. And Gouger said, Bob, he said, I'd like you to meet my friend Rod. He said, how you going, Rod? And eyes right on me. And I'll tell you what, when you're in Bob's company and you were talking with him, you were the only person in the room as far as you're concerned. He never took his eyes off you, and he was genuinely interested. He was a very interesting man. I've never seen anybody hold a room the way Hawke could hold a room.
Yeah, he's good.
So we went down the port and we got on the Terps there, and there were blokes offering to get him a fridge or get him a TV. You know, they were all working on the docks.
Yeah.
And Bob graciously declined on each occasion. Yeah.
Yes. Well, of course, he was home, really, South Australian, wasn't he? Yeah. And what happened next?
Left Adelaide, went to Albury, met a girl, got married, and it was good for a while. It was good for a long time, actually.
Were you still on the booze?
Yeah, I was still drinking.
You're in Albury, you're on the booze big time, you're married.
Yep.
I think your father-in-law doesn't love you.
No.
Because describe yourself with a critical eye at that time. You're a smart ass.
He would have seen me as such.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, yes, I was, because I remember a good mate of mine saying to me years and years later when I sobered up and back in Albury, he said, when you were living here in Albury at that time, he said, you were the most pompous person I'd ever met in my life. And I was stunned to hear it. But on reflection, that's exactly what I was. I was so full of myself,
Yeah.
the bloke who's been everywhere and done everything. You know, I was a bore.
Yeah. And you...
Which, by the way, is the worst insult you can ever offer a man.
Yes.
You're a bore.
Any version of that word, really. And you got interested in acting at some point, or was that much later?
Oh, that was later, but that's all part of the game.
There was a bit of an actor in
There's
you.
a hell of a lot of acting in the dope trade, in bar work, just in being, in winning. There's a lot of acting in winning.
Yes.
Some people call it people pleasing. I don't call it that. That's a deliberate attempt to make people like you, and that always comes to disaster. It's so obvious.
Right.
It's about fitting in, being entertaining, and allowing the other person to get their bloody word in.
Yeah.
If you're going to talk all the time and over the top of people, you are a bore. You're full of yourself. Yeah.
Because you've had ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. What happened next?
A mate from North Queensland contacted me and said, I've got this stuff and can you move it for me? And I'd retired. I got out of the game. I hadn't been pinched, not even been questioned about it. And I said, yeah, righto. I wanted to make some money because I was working as a barman, getting barman's wages. And when you go from 30 grand in 2 days to barman's wages, the temptation's too strong. And I got pinched and police pistoled my head in Wagga. And I ended up in court and ended up being given a year on the bottom and 6 years on the top. I got the year on the bottom because of the incredible bloody argument my barrister put up. They wanted to give me 18 months, which means straight to maximum security, with a year to Silverwater. I was in Silverwater for about 6 weeks. I got transferred from there to go directly to Manus Prison Farm in Tumbarumba via Goulburn for one night. But the screws were on strike. I ended up spending 4 days and nights in Goulburn. Yeah. And the first day that I was in there, they released me into Sea Yard. And the stuff I saw in Sea Yard was so vile. Yeah. What these guys weightlifting and what have you, what they were doing with these 3 white boys. I called the screw over and I said, if you don't get me out of this yard now, I'm never going to leave jail. I'm either going to get killed or I'm going to stay here for murder, because I will go over there to those weightlifters and I will tear into them. Now, how many am I going to do? They're crims, they're serious boys. Yeah. So the screw very kindly sent me up to the library.
Did he?
Yeah, and I spent 3 days in the library. And then I'm transferred to Manus Prison Farm, where I did the remainder of my sentence, which was about 4 months. Hopefully I was in there for 12 months. But if they say you've done something wrong or you stepped out of line, then they can extend it and send you back to the bay. I mean, I had 6 years on the top. So
yes, you could have ended up.
Yeah. I mean, some of those guys were getting booze brought into the perimeter fence and running down there after dark and grabbing it. And one of them offered me a beer and one of the other guys said, no, don't you bloody touch it. Yeah. He said, you do anything wrong, he said, you get Shanghai back. I was looked after. Yeah. I mean, I was 30 years of age. I wasn't a baby or anything. But these guys, if they like you, they'll steer you right. It's like
and why did they like you?
I was genuine. Yeah. I'd look them in the eye. I'd tell them the truth. Yeah. I umpired a game of footy in there. Yeah. One of the most dangerous hour and a half of my life.
Is that a fact?
Oh, yeah. They didn't like the whistle being blown on them.
Oh, they didn't? Yeah, and were they a little bit rough?
Oh, the blokes are coming up and chesting me and saying, what do you think you're doing? That's not a free kick. And I said, mate, I'm just here. I couldn't play because I had a crook leg, so I couldn't run either.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good.
And you don't run anyway.
No, you don't run. That is refereeing the most dangerous time of your very dangerous life was umpiring a game of
Aussie rules football
at Tumbarumba on a prison farm. Yeah.
There was another time we played a game of cricket against the Townies on the town oval. Yeah. And I played in it. And, and I whacked a few balls and what have you. Yeah. But this other guy has gone crack and he's hit a massive 6 over the fence and into the trees and bushes and so forth.
I see.
Well, every that was the bloke playing against us. We're fielding. Every fielder on the field started running for the fence.
All convicts.
The screws are blowing their whistles. Stop right there. Don't anybody go over the fence.
A couple of them may not come back.
Yeah.
How funny is that? Yeah. Now, your book is called?
Take My Advice. I'm not using it.
Published by?
published by Allen & Unwin.
How many years in the making?
Well, Barry Humphries suggested I write it 26 years ago.
Yeah.
I'd thought about writing a book well before then, but he saying that to me prompted me to...
An AA meeting, was it?
Yeah.
At
the
where,
end of...
Where at?
Bondi Beach.
Bondi Beach.
Yeah. I don't talk too much about AA. We keep ourselves. We don't use it to publicise ourselves.
No.
But saved my life, so I'll say that much.
And, it's a piece of history with Barry. It was his battles
Barry's always identified
alcohol were very... Yeah.
And I have too. I met some wonderful people there. But he suggested that, so that was 26 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I got sober and built businesses, and I started one business, a pressure washing business in Albury when I was 62.
Yeah.
Started with $5,000 and I sold it 8 years later. It made me $1 million. I didn't get $1 million for it. I got 6 figures for it, mid-6 figures, and I owned a house out of it.
Did
I
you?
had no debt. Yeah, I made well over $1 million off that $5,000.
Gee, that's
purely by getting out of bed early.
Getting up and working.
And by selling, by marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing's the key to bloody business success.
Yeah.
If they don't know you're there, they won't come.
So possibly your next book might be about how I turned $5 into whatever.
Could be.
Now, I dare say we could go on a lot, but you can't tell every story that's in the book because there are dozens of stories in the book, and this is just a select sample of them. Where did the title come from?
An AA meeting.
Did it?
Yeah, it's not my thought. Somebody
said that.
Really early on.
Did they?
Yeah, he said, take my advice, I'm not using it. And I heard it and I thought, that's the title. The reason this book is with Allen & Unwin is because I was at a literary event at Albury Library and Chris Masters was speaking.
Yes.
And he was talking about a particular businessman and his involvement in crime. And I went up to him afterwards and I said, you're on the money. And he just looked me up and down. He said, how would you know? And I told him about my history with Gator and so forth.
Yes.
And we had a chat for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I told him I intended writing my life story.
Mm.
And he said, if you have any trouble getting a publisher, give me a call. And he gave me his card. I was sitting at home 10 years later on a Sunday arvo watching the show that Masters put on about Robert Smith.
Yes.
And I thought, have I still got his number? And I looked at my phone and there it was. I sent him a text, 3 o'clock Sunday arvo. A minute later, I got a text back, send me the first 30 pages, which I did. Half hour later, I got a text back, do you want me to approach my publisher or do you want to do it? And I said, you please. Yeah. And he's the one who introduced me to Elizabeth Weiss, the publisher.
Is that right?
Yes. But for Chris, I'd still be knocking on doors.
I shook his hand last night.
Good on you.
At a photo
I reckon he's a ripper bloke.
Very
dry
nice.
But
dry, yeah. Great reporter and very interesting.
Gutsy.
Great family, full of clever people. Yeah, well, that's a wonderful yarn. You and Chris Masters.
I just want to say thanks to him because that sort of help is invaluable. And to yourself too, and to Bill Gray and to all the other people who have stepped in and given me a leg up. I don't want to mention blokes' names, they might not appreciate it, but there are people in the radio game who have really... through introductions of people I know. I looked at my phone recently, I've got 4,000 names in there. And 2,000 of them are clients, but 2,000 of them I know personally.
Rod, what are you doing now? You sold your business in Albury?
Yeah, I sold my business.
What are you doing now?
Hawking the book.
Hawking the book. That's it.
Buy a copy, will you?
Yeah, I will. I promise. And that's all there is.
I'm talking to the people listening to us.
Out there. You won't regret it. Rod Halsted, thanks for coming in all the way from Albury, and we hope to see you again.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Andrew. Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks for listening. Life and Crimes is a Sunday Herald Sun production for True Crime Australia. Our producer is Jonty Burton. For my columns, features and more, go to heraldsun.com.au/Andrew Rule, one word. For advertising inquiries, go to newspodcastssold@news.com.au. That is all one word, newspodcastssold. And if you want further information about this episode, links are in the description.